there, it's Linda Cromar. I'm coming to you from my home office in Colorado, and I haven't done any videos for a few days. Sorry about that. Sometimes things just come up and you have to take care of them. And this has been one of those times. And for some reason, I look really crooked. Fix that. That's better. Anyway, if you are serious about really building a serious business, you want to prepare for any possibility that might come along. Now, some things aren't going to happen, but it's better to be prepared. One of the things I've done just recently is because I got that special check, that silly check from the government that, you know what, I think they're just trying to appease us. But anyway, I knew that, a lot of people, all they're going to do is spend it real quick. But I put some of it away in savings. I put a big chunk of it into my business. And I paid off my tax bill that was due next month. Now, most people are not thinking about those kind of things. Yes, you could pay your credit cards or something else, but unless you can pay the full balance, it's actually not going to save you much. And that is actually a waste of money unless you can pay a whole balance. And if you have a larger balance than the amount required, then obviously you're not going to finish that balance. And the interest rate will not change. And that just hurts you. So I knew that investment in my business was actually a better choice. Now, my husband is dying, and probably sooner than later. And I could sit around and bawl about it, but one of the things I did, it's been about 2 years ago, is to get a pre-planned funeral plan put together and paid for it in cash so that I didn't have any payments. And I did that because then my peace of mind would be in a much better place when that day comes. And I don't know when that day comes. It could be a month, it could be a week, it could be a day. We're kind of sitting on that if button a lot right now. And it can be a place where people just kind of freeze up and don't do anything with their life and just do nothing and just sit around waiting. Well, I'm not going to do that. One of my husband's biggest desires actually was that I was going to be in a place where I could take care of myself. And guess what? I am. And that is one of the things I promised him I was going to do. I'm actually fulfilling his wish by taking care of those things and making sure my business is still going to hum even when things are not the best. I believe that you are empowering yourself when you do things like that. Yes, you could absolutely just sit and freeze, but what would you prove by doing that? And who would you make feel better about that? Nobody. And you're going to feel terrible at the end when you are in a worse position. And I made another decision, this was more years ago, to have some of my family live with me. My son and daughter-in-law in particular, I invited them to come live with me. I think it's been 7 years, something like that. And I did that on purpose because I knew the days would come when taking care of him was going to be tough. And one of the things that is built in because they live with me is support. They help me with him a lot. And if they didn't, and if I was all by myself, I can certainly understand somebody wanting to put their loved one in a nursing home. But I made a vow that I wasn't going to do that. And I believe that he's just going to fall asleep and that'll be it one of these days. And I've already got hospice in place. I've already got his funeral plan in place. So it'll just be a matter of making a couple of phone calls and he'll be fine. And I'll be fine. And that peace of mind is big when you're dealing with that kind of a situation. Preparation for disaster. That was my subject line today. And so much of the time, people wait until it's too late to take care of those things. Like, for instance, a few years ago, we made a decision to put our house in a reverse mortgage. In other words, the bank really owns the house, and I live in it until I either want to leave or I die. So it's based on my life, not his. So I can live here another, however many years I live. I could live another 20 or 30 years. There's no way of knowing. But I will do that because I don't have a house payment. And about a month ago, my son and I sat down together and looked at the bills, and we set up a plan that was a lot more fair than me paying everything. Now, he's paying rent, but we decided also for him and I to split the household bills, such as the utilities and such, the telephone and entertainment bills, by 3, so that everybody was paying on it. And that account that we set up for that purpose is also going to be a place where money is saved. So I've got money saved in both that account and another one I set up that's just kind of the emergency fund. And between the two, we're going to be in really good shape when he passes. And I think that's really, really important to do. Maybe it sounds cavalier, or maybe it sounds like I'm being selfish, but no, I don't think that it is. I think that it's more selfish to be in a place where you're so needy that you can't take care of things and you can't help your family because you're so needy. And I see my ex and his wife doing exactly that. They're not taking good care of themselves, and they're making themselves become a burden to others. And that's not a good plan. And also, I'm taking good care of myself, my health, because I want to make sure that I'm not going to be sick and they have to care for me right away as well. That's one of the things that often happens, is that people start kind of losing their ability to take care of themselves because they let themselves go during that process of being a caregiver. And that's a bad idea too. You don't want to do that. You want to take really good care of yourself. It's not selfish to do that, because an empty vessel cannot help anyone. And if you're empty, you can't help anyone. You have to fill yourself up before you can help others. You remember that old thing that they still do, I'm sure, in the airlines, where they tell you when the oxygen masks drop down that you're to put yours on first before you help anyone else. I think that goes for everything in life. If you can't help yourself, and if you can't fill yourself up so that you are not empty, you can't be good for anyone else. In fact, you probably won't be, because you'll be falling apart. And it's no good to be falling apart when there's a disaster. And I bet you thought I was going to talk about snowstorms and tornadoes, because they're talking about tornadoes in Alabama today. And yes, of course, plan ahead. Don't be one of those people that run to the store at the last possible minute trying to grab everything and absolutely clean out the stores. Just be on a smart plan of making sure you're taking care of what needs to be taken care of, and plan ahead. That isn't that hard to do if you really think about it. So that's my little axiom today. Make sure that you take care of yourself as much as you take care of that other person, so that when the day comes when they're no longer here, you aren't a total basket case, because I've seen too many people do that. And it's not worth it. I'm going to take really good care of myself, because I'm going to survive after he's gone. And I'm going to celebrate his life and love him all the way to the end. But I'm also not going to just kill myself out of the process, because that doesn't make any sense to do that. But I see a lot of people do that. When you're a caregiver, it's real easy to lose yourself and destroy yourself in the process. So I recommend not doing that. And if you'd like to learn more about how I have some amazing people joining me right now in my business, I'd love to share that with you. And that's all I have to share with you today. Bye for now.